Microanimations, motion design and videos become very popular nowadays. And it's very important to give the best first impressions for your users when they visit your site. This is why we created unique WoW animation frameworks specially for Rehub theme. You can make nice looking animations without any code knowledge, and in the same time, all of these animations are fast and doesn't reduce speed of your site. You can still have very high score on Google test tools, even if you have complex animations on page. First release of our animation framework is working in Elementor, but we have plans to add it also for Gutenberg in future. First of all, let's add some object to page, for example, image. By default, all objects in Elementor have full width container. You can change this in Advanced tab and set width to inline width. You can find some simple transitions in Motion Effect tab. They have no settings, but can be good enough if you need to add something simple like fade, slide or zoom. Additionally, Rehub theme has some more advanced transitions which you can find in End of Select. I recommend to investigate these transitions, but please, don't use wobble, shake, swing transitions, they are very outdated and annoying. Any of your animations should improve first impression, but they must be not annoying. The next set of options for animations is Rehub Quick View panel. This allows you to add fast effects like infinite rotation or sliding. It has option to enable perspective shadow, which makes any flat object as 3D styled shape. The same option is available also for text. Next is shape width, which allows to change width of object. The last one is rotation option, which sets initial rotation. Let's see some more advanced quick effects which you can apply to objects. You can find them in Rehub WoW animation section. Reveal option is very cool for images and allows you to add interesting slide transition. You can see example on our refashion demo. Mouth move effect will add interaction between mouth movement and layer. You can enable transform values and tilt values. More strength you add, more movement you will have. By default, layer will interact if you move mouth in viewport or browser. But you can enable bounds by object. This will add interactions only if you place mouth over object. Scroll parallax effect allows you to add some vertical or horizontal movement when you scroll your page. Now, let's talk about most interesting part of animation framework, which is based on GreenSock animations. You can study many interesting examples on site of this JavaScript library. And don't panic, you don't need any code to use this powerful library on your site because we added interface directly in Elementor. Enable advanced animations now. You will see init values. Each field allows you to choose how to transform your objects. You can transform in X and Y axis by pixels or by percentage. You can change rotation and scale, including rotation in 3D space, and even change width and height, opacity and backgrounds. Let us show some practical examples. First of all, add some transform values. By default, it doesn't include opacity transition, but we recommend it for any sliding animations. By the way, each page loads styles first, then it loads scripts. And when you use any opacity-related animations where initial opacity is 0, you need to add special CSS class to eject to prevent different kind of flashing on page loading. Now, scroll down to the bottom. You will find some important options. First one is duration of animation. Second is delay. If you have several layers on page, you can enable delay for each layer, and they will appear one after another. Ease type allows to set different easing to make different feel of motion. Infinite option makes object to move infinitely. You can enable yo-yo option if you want to have back and forward style of animations. If you disable it, animation will start from beginning on each iteration. You can also enable delay between animations and set delay option. You can choose also direction. Set direction as from means that you have animation from your values to initial position of object. If you disable it, animation will be from current position to the values of your options. Here is also another example, how to combine different options. For example, we have image on page. Now, enable full width option for our section. Enable left align for image, and set it as absolute position. Choose such value in position, when image will be placed outside our viewport. Now, enable advanced animations. Disable from direction and set value for X transform more than 100%. In this way, image will go from left side to right side. Now, enable infinite option and disable yo-yo. So, we have infinite animation. You can duplicate layer and set different duration and delays to get cool effect. You can find a bit jumping animation in viewport, but don't worry, it will be very smooth on site if you check it without Elementor editor. Now, let's talk about trigger options. By default, your animation will play when users scroll down to element. You can also set ID of custom element which will trigger animation. Trigger start allows you to change of scroll trigger position. For example, if you set values top center, this will trigger animation when top part of element hits center of your viewport. You can also use pixel values in percentages. By default, scroll will trigger full animation, but if you set interpolation value, animation will be interpolated with scroll. You can use also trigger end value with magic formula plus equals a number. For example, plus equals 500 means that animation will stop after users scroll 500 pixels from start of animation. Pin option allows you to pin element while it's animated. It's recommended to have trigger start, trigger end and interpolation values for this kind of effect. Be careful, pin will reposition element. Sometimes Elementor can't change position properly, so we recommend to test this effect when you view the page without editor. You can see how this effect looks on our refashion demo. The last options are scroll actions and scroll snaping. Actions allows to change logic of animation when user leave and return to layer. Scroll sniping allows to add auto-scroll to some part of object. In 99% of scenarios you don't need to touch these options, but if you want, you can read details about them on scroll trigger documentation. Let us show other trigger values. If your animation is placed at top of page, there is no sense to keep scroll trigger, and you can change it to trigger on load. This will improve performance a bit. On hover, animation will work only if user hover over element. This can make some cool effect, like zoom or rotate. Bad scroll trigger is working like mass animations. It's best for using with post or product loops. It's also supporting infinite scrolling. You can add animations to all modules of Elementor, but some type of content can have even more interesting effects. One of such type is text. You can apply text effect to lines, chars and words, and they will work right after each other. You can set also delay between each element of text and also enable random order. Let us show another cool effect which we used on all demo sites. It's SVG icon drawing. In modules for Elementor, you can find SVG shape module with some ready icons. You can also add drawing effect to them. The only one requirement is that only lines can be animated, so you need to disable fill option and enable border option. Then, simply activate advanced animations and SVG animation. You can animate any icon, not only SVG shape module. Here I will show you my way to do this. Go to Google and search SVG icon. Find icons which you like. Only icons which are made with lines will work for animation, so don't use icons with solid fill areas. Now, download icon on computer and open it in any text editor. Copy code. Insert HTML module in Elementor and insert copied code. If you want to change width, add width parameter inside SVG tag. Make sure that icon has stroke width and color and has transparent or none fill option. SVG can be used not only as module but also as motion path. For example, I have image and SVG which is added as HTML code. Now, I want to move my image along path. First of all, add inline width to image. Then, add custom AD to path tag and copy. Now, enable animation and place your copied AD to motion path. Image will move as path but will keep initial position. If you want to place image on path, add also the same id to align value and enable orientation along path. You can add also all other transform, duration, delay options. It's not required to have visible path on page, you can hide it or disable stroke color. If you have problems with selecting elements, enable Navigator by right-click. You can also draw custom path inside editor. For this, type magic word custom in path field. Save page and reload. You will get path near your layer. Drag it as you need. You can also make Alt-click on path or Option-click for Mac to add additional point on path. Orient option is not working when you draw, but when you satisfied with path, click on dark copy button in end of page. This will save SVG code of path. You can insert it directly in path field. The next effect is Stagger. This effect is useful when you want to add the same animation to several layers at once. Of course, you can add animation to each block separately, but we have better option for this. First of all, add the same class to all elements. Now, add animation only to one main layer which will work as trigger. Then, enable Stagger option and set class which you added earlier as Stagger class. You can change also delay between each animation and enable random order. In previous steps we discussed only single animations for each layer. But you can attach unlimited animations and mix them as you want in one timeline. For example, we have SVG shape layer. Now, we add simple animation, and we want to add more additional movements to end. Simply enable multiple animation option for this and add more animations. They will work step by step, but you can add custom start time with relative values, so they can work in the same time. Check documentation with explanation about formulas of starting time. We showed you how to use animation framework for each widget, but there are also some specific modules which you can find in Elementor. We already explained about SVG shape module. Second one will be Lottie canvas. Lottie animations is special format and library for animation vector graphic, which is very popular nowadays. You can find thousands of free files on Lottie website. You just need to choose one of animation and download JSON file, open it in any text editor and copy to module field. In options you can change size and also enable different animation scenarios. For example, you can enable autoplay, play on hover or on click. We added also click delay. This allows to play full animation on click before it will be redirected to link. Also, you can enable animation on scroll which will interpolate animation by scrolling. If you find any issue with layer opacity, simply activate height by document option. And the last module which we want to explain is animated canvas. It has several subsections. First one is particle canvas. It allows to add container with different particles. Click on link in description and go to site where you can configure your particles. You can play with different settings, size, colors. When you finish configuration, download config file. Then, open file in any text editor and copy content. Insert this content in field of Elementor and change height of container. If you don't see any changes except gray background, save page and reload it. Now you can see something, but it's not visible. It's because we added white particles on white background, so we need to change color of background to see them. Do this in column or in section settings. What if you want to place some element above container of particle? We need to change position of container and set absolute position. Also, add z-index to container and set it as 0. All layers which you want to move above container must have z-index higher than 0. The next subsection of animated canvas is video. This is more advanced and optimized variant of regular video object. First of all, you must upload video to get link to it. You can do this in media library of WordPress. Simply upload video, edit it and copy link to video. MP4, web and OGG formats are supported. Now, you can upload poster image which is visible for users before video is loaded. Also, you can assign fallback image which will replace video when resolution of user's browser is less than value which you set for fallback image. This is made to replace video with image for smartphones. Also, you can set different sizes of block for different resolutions. By the way, this block doesn't affect speed of site or Google Speed Score. It's made in smart way with asynchronous loading. And the last subsection of animated canvas is animated shape. This can be used to make custom moving blobs or fluid shapes. You can change speed and size, set gradient, color or even upload images mask. We will add more interesting canvases for this module in future. There is also 3D Canvas module. It allows you to place real 3D objects and models on your site, but currently this module is only for advanced users. We will make separate video about it and some demos. Don't forget that any of your objects on page must be tested in different resolutions. This is easy to do in Elementor. Sometimes, some layers are simply doesn't fit to phone or tablet resolution, and you can hide them in responsive options. Also, most of options can have different values for different resolutions.